My son and his friend are a couple. How do I let them know? It's okay. Hello, Reddit. Please bear with me regarding my formatting and things. I have read the rules and things, but I'm an old fart who is rather on the wrong side of 40, so I'm not overly well versed in the art of efficient interneting. My boy is 20 years old. He's absolutely my pride and joy, and there is nothing he could do that would ever make me love him less. For the first half of his life, I regrettably wasn't involved very much. His mother and I parted ways when he was just a few months old, and at the time I was struggling with a heroin addiction and was absolutely not as present in his life as I should have been, nor was I suited to fatherhood at all. I saw him, at most, 2 to 3 times a year for the first 12 years of his life. I won't discuss details because that's his private story to tell, but when he was 12 he revealed to me that he was being badly mistreated at the hands of his mother and her boyfriend. Despite not being the best father at the time, I didn't want my boy suffering anymore, so I got myself cleaned up and sorted out in order to get full custody of him. I've effectively been a single and sober father ever since, and he has little to no contact with his mother. He's everything a man could want his son to be. He's uniquely kind and fiercely loyal. He's unflinchingly brave. He's incredibly generous. And despite the horrors he suffered as a child, he's unfailingly positive and sunny to the last. Somehow I, of all people, was bestowed with the honor of watching him grow from a sweet young boy to the greatest man I have ever known. I cannot stress enough my pride in him. When he was 18, he got accepted into a top-ranking university on the other side of the country. I was sad to see him go, but simultaneously overjoyed that he got into his first choice and was starting a new chapter in his life. He comes home once every other month, and on the months he doesn't come home, I go to visit him. He's doing well in uni, has made lots of friends, and seems incredibly happy there, which I'm obviously chuffed about. Since his second year, he's lived with his friend in a flat off campus. I've strongly suspected since his early teens that my son is gay, and I now more or less have confirmation that this is true and that his friend is actually his boyfriend. So, for this COVID-19 faff, my son decided he'd rather come home and quarantine at mine than stay at his uni flat. His friend, however, would be left alone if my son came back, as he's a Canadian and his family are back over there, and I gather he doesn't have the best relationship with them anyway. He asked if it would be okay if friend tagged along to my house, and I said of course, no problem. They've been back at mine for about 6 weeks now. They think they're being subtle, I know, but I've caught them doing coupley things on several occasions now. The friend has slipped up a couple of times and called my son babe and sweetie in front of me, which I pretended not to notice for the sake of saving embarrassment. There have been nights where we'll be watching a film with the lights off and, thinking I can't see, my son will have his arm around the friend. One day, I walked into the lounge and I'm positive they'd just been kissing and were trying to cover it, though I admit I have no confirmation on that one. The most solid evidence, however, came a few mornings ago. I get up very early to go for runs in the morning, hence why I'm making a Reddit post at 5 in the morning, haha. As far as I was told, my son was sleeping in his childhood room and his friend was in the guest room. I don't know what possessed me to do so, but on Tuesday morning, I cracked my son's door open to check on him, like I used to when he was a kid. Lo and behold, they're both asleep, snuggled up together, in my son's bed. That's more or less solidified for me that they're together. I didn't say anything, just shut the door and went for my run, and I haven't mentioned it to them yet. What I want advice on is this. How do I let my son and his boyfriend know that I'm okay with them being a couple and they don't have to feel like they have to sneak around in my house? I want them to be comfortable here, and I want them to know I support them both no matter what. Or is that not a good idea? Am I better off leaving it alone and waiting until they tell me themselves, if they ever do? I obviously don't want to force either of them out of the closet, but at the same time I hate feeling as if they feel like they're being forced into the closet in my house. What's my best course of action here? TLDR, my son and his friend are staying with me for quarantine. It's abundantly clear they're a couple, and I want to let them know it's okay, and they don't have to sneak around in my house. What's the best way to go about it? Update. I tried you post this before, but it got removed as I hadn't waited 48 hours. Hopefully this time it works. Hello, lovely people. As promised, I am back with an update for you on all what happened the other day. Here it is, if you missed it. Want to top this off with a big thank you to everyone who left such lovely, thoughtful comments. I honestly didn't expect so many people to see the post. I was thinking maybe an absolute maximum of 100 people, and even that seemed like loads. It was lovely to hear back from so many of you, and I'm forever grateful for the fantastic advice most of you gave. Also overjoyed by my new adopted Reddit children. Haha, you're all doing amazing and I'm very proud of all of you. Also big thanks to all of the lovely people who sent me such sweet messages of support and to those of you who reached out to me because you felt you needed someone to talk to. If anyone else feels that way and is in need of dadly advice, do feel free to give me a message and I will do my best to help out. Smiley face. Okay, you all want me to shut up and tell you what happened, haha. My son was busy with some assignments both for his freelancing job and his uni work most of the day, and I didn't want to disturb him, so I waited until after dinner to chat. Friend went to have a bath while my son and I watched telly. I taught him face to face, son, I love you very much. You don't have to tell me anything. You don't want to, but I want you and friend to feel comfortable being yourselves in my house, and you don't ever need to hide anything from me. All right, well, it turns out a hell of a lot of you were right. Son burst out laughing and said, oh, thank God. I reckoned you'd clicked on but didn't say anything because I didn't want to make you feel weird. Basically, we've each been pussyfooting around the topic because neither one of us wanted to make the other uncomfortable talking about it. We had a bit of a chat, and he confirmed that I'm right in thinking they've been together since their first year of uni, and that's why they moved in together in second year. However, apparently I'm not as brilliant and intuitive as I thought, because apparently one of his friends in secondary school was his boyfriend for a year, and I had absolutely no idea. Haha. He went and talked to the boyfriend after his bath, and then we all had a bit of a further chat. Sadly, a lot of you were right that the reason boyfriend doesn't have a good relationship with his parents is because he came out to them a few years ago and they effectively disowned him, so I made sure he knows that he's a part of our family now. Sorry if that isn't all as exciting and groundbreaking as some of you had hoped, ha. I'm glad this is something my boy no longer feels he has to keep from me, and I'm very glad he's happy with his partner. Thank you all again for the help. Few comments from the community. Comment 1. You're an awesome dad. I'm so glad you were able to clean up your life and become such an amazing father to your son. I hope he knows and sees that. 2. I'm a lesbian, and I can totally relate to what your son is doing and feeling. I like the above advice in just referring to your son's friend as his boyfriend. It's casual, and your tone will be the telltale sign in all of it. You could also write a letter addressed to him if you wish. I think that would be really sweet, and I would keep it forever if I were him. Thanks for being one of the good ones. Comment 2. First, congrats on cleaning your life up and being there for your son. Keep being strong. Most of the comments here are great, and I think any of them would be fine. Just reassure your son it's okay, and that you'll love him no matter his sexuality. My friend's dad left his son a sticky note for him to find that just said he loves him and approves of his boyfriend because he's such a gentleman, lol. I think reassurance is best, but I love everyone else's comments. Comment 3. If you like his boyfriend, it sounds like you do, then I'd say something like, I hope you know that boyfriend's name is always welcome in our family. It's clear he really cares about you, and having people like that in our lives is so important. If you're feeling up to it, add, I just want you to know that you too are more than welcome to share a bedroom here if you prefer. Story 2. Wife had been flirting with her coworker. She said she would stop, but it just happened again. Is there any future in this relationship? My wife and I have been married for slightly more than 3 years now. Last Christmas, I found she had been having a long conversation with a co-worker of hers, in which they talked about having had sex multiple times and that they couldn't wait for the next one. The guy said he was going to book a hotel near their office right after Christmas. In this conversation, when he said he was looking forward to seeing my wife, she would reply with things like, I'm looking forward to much more than just seeing you, etc. You get the idea. Overly flirty and sexual. When I confronted my wife, she denied the conversation existed. After deleting it, she showed me her phone to prove it didn't exist. But I had taken a few pictures. She then said it was all virtual and that they never did anything physical. To prove she was right, she messaged her coworker in front of me, asking if he had booked the hotel. He replied, not yet. She then asked if he was really expecting them to meet, to which he replied negatively. She promised they would never talk again, and I agreed, simply because I love her a lot and wanted to trust her. But in my mind, I wasn't completely sure she had been honest. For a few weeks, I must admit I checked her phones a few too many times, so she changed her password, which I was fine with because I was probably being too paranoid. This week, I picked her phone up because I needed a code that had been sent to her phone number. I didn't even need to unlock the screen to get it. To my surprise, under the message with the code, there were other messages from the same guy. One of them was an audio, the second one was a shirtless photo of himself in front of a mirror, and the third one said sweaty and a few emojis with the tongue. I confronted her since she had promised they wouldn't talk ever again, And she said he just wanted to show her he's going to the gym to show progress. But that the rest of the times they talk it's just about work, and that this is just a coincidence. I asked her to show me the rest of their messages, but she said she had mistakenly deleted their conversation history. My wife says she's going to change this time, and that I never really forgave her, and that's why she kept talking to the guy. She says this time she's really going to stop, but I have a hard time believing it. Or, even if she does stop, I fear when things don't go so well between us she'll do it again. I really love her, but can't keep living like this. Is there any situation in which this can work? What would you do? Some comments. Comment 1. Dude, you are being blind. Comment 2. Flirty. They've clearly been nailing each other. Tell her to. And feel free to paraphrase. Fuck right off. Comment 3. You've been married 3 years and you don't mention kids. So I'm assuming you don't have any. Consider yourself lucky, dude. 1. She's cheating on you. A lot of people cheat. Most don't get caught. Consider yourself lucky, again, that you don't have to take her word for it because the evidence you found is clear-cut. She may eventually admit, she may not. No matter, you have your answer. 2. Get a lawyer. You know your marriage is over and you can never trust her again, right? 3. Book an appointment with a therapist. A video chat appointment is better than none at all, and even if you have never had therapy before, you would be surprised by how settled you can feel after opening up to someone about how badly you have been hurt. And they will help you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and in your case it's a life without someone who is pretending to love you while deceiving you to serve their own purposes. What are they? The comfort, love, and stability that you provide at home while getting it dirty, hot, and cheap on the side. Again, sorry dude. Update, you were right. I ignored every single one of your comments and eventually caught my wife with the other man. This is a tough pill to swallow, and I can't say I hadn't been warned. This is my previous post. Many folks asked me to follow up with an update, so here it is, fresh from the oven. After reading every single comment of the Reddit post, my brain just couldn't overcome the catastrophe and the collapse of the world I had built for me, in which my wife is my love, my best friend and partner, as well as the person I admire the most. She was entirely perfect and made me happy for many years. I thought no couple in the world could have what we had. We were both very happy for a long time. We were both attractive, we were both inherently good, had big hearts, and were individually wildly successful in our careers. After the Reddit post, I moved to an Airbnb and eventually with family to think things through. It was a terrible time, but a psychologist helped me recover from a terrible mental state. It coincided with the pandemic hitting very hard in my city. I caught the virus, which didn't help. During this time, we kept talking and my wife was very sorry and continued saying they hadn't met. I knew it wasn't true, but was willing to forgive the woman of my dreams, who continued being in the highest altar of my universe. Fast forward last Saturday morning, I went back to our place, ready to forgive her and talk things through in the most mature way possible. And well, there she was, but I was the one who received the biggest surprise, to say the least. The guy was in my house naked, and so was my wife. The guy from the messages, the guy from the pics, the one she said she didn't even like. I caught him hiding in my bathroom as my wife was putting her pajamas on. When I saw him hiding in my bathroom, he uttered, "Sorry, dude." For a second, I asked myself, is this where I kill him? But I instantly replied, I got nothing against you, because the guy was just nailing this hot woman. Even if he was doing so in a house full of pictures of me, pictures of our wedding and our families, pictures of my dead father who would be so sad to see how the marriage he never witnessed was going to end. He has always been the reason I try to make the world a better place. He passed away 2 months before our wedding. I'm sorry. I still love her to death. But I understand enough is enough. Even if my world collapses, I hope I can build a new one without lies and in which I'm not just a blind believer under an altar of a fake god. Godspeed. Few comments. Comment 1. Sorry you had to experience this in the most extreme way possible by literally walking in on them naked together. Great composure when almost any reaction would have been justified. Just take your time and take care of yourself for however long it takes. I can't imagine the pain you have. Comment 2. Just make sure you don't take her back, cause she'll do it again. Comment 3. God fucking speed, man. Your wife will never be sorry for what she did, but she'll keep saying she's sorry dozens, probably hundreds of times to try and keep her word from crashing down. But you will be manipulated no more. Do not leave your marital home under any circumstance. Find a good lawyer and start filing for divorce. You will come out of this a better man. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Story 3. It has been 7 months since we learned that my wife, 34F, can't have kids, and she still has not gotten over it. I, 35M, am seriously considering a divorce. Title may seem harsh, so I apologize. Also using a throwaway because my friends know my real account. Bit of background info about my wife. She's an only child and had a rather lonely childhood. So to her, having kids and watching them grow up together is an important issue for her, if not the single most important issue. To make a long story short, 7 months ago we learned that my wife is incapable of having children. Of course, both of us were devastated and she ended up leaving her job. For the first month after learning this terrible news, all she did was cry and watch Netflix in bed. I brought her meals in bed, started working from home, and gave her my full support because it was the least I could do. But now it's 7 months later, and she's still crying and watching Netflix in bed all day. I ask her every day if she needs anything, but all I get in response is variations on either leave me alone or some peace and quiet. Virtually the only time she gets out of bed are when she fixes herself some snacks, uses the bathroom, or takes a shower. I do all the cooking, cleaning, and laundry. I've suggested many things to help her recover, including but not limited to 1. Therapy. She said that all therapists spew BS back at you. 2. Adoption or using a surrogate. She shot down both, saying that it just didn't feel right to her. 3. Moving to her parents' city. She said moving 100 miles was too much stress. 4. Buying a corgi puppy. Corgis are her favorite. She snapped at me saying that a puppy is no substitute for a real human child. 5. Taking her on a week-long trip to anywhere she chooses. Again, she said that's too much stress. Earlier tonight, I had a talk with my wife. I told her that our relationship is just not sustainable if she continues to act this way and that she needs help. She said that she's fine and called me an asshole for suggesting that she get help. Don't get me wrong. I love my wife with all my heart. I'm doing my best to help her, but she is refusing that help and in total denial. I know that she'll be devastated if we get a divorce, but honestly, I cannot bear living like this for much longer. What do or can I do? Happy update. It has been 7 months since we learned that my wife, 34F, can't have kids, and she still has not gotten over it. I, 35M, am seriously considering a divorce. Hi all. First off, I want to apologize for not responding to every single post reply or PM. I am genuinely touched by the sheer amount of support I received, and I spent quite a few hours crying my eyes out as I read your messages and well wishes. The night after I wrote my original post, I wrote my wife a short letter. Thank you, witchy_woman420 for the idea that when something like this, dear wife's name, I love you more than you can imagine, and the most I want in this world is for you to be happy. I understand that as a man, I probably have no idea how intense the pain that you are feeling is. I'm doing my best to help you, but the fact that you won't help yourself is taking a toll on our marriage. I honestly cannot continue living like this for much longer, and our marriage is in jeopardy if you don't make an effort to get better. However, I want to get over this bump together and start working in the right direction together. I'm ready to talk whenever you are. With all my love, my name. I put the letter on top of her laptop and went to bed. The next morning, March 16th, I woke up a bit earlier than usual to fix her a double helping of her favorite breakfast: blueberry pancakes, bacon, scrambled eggs, and fresh squeezed OJ. When I walked into the bedroom with her food, I saw her reading my letter. When she saw me, she put the letter down, got out of bed, threw herself into my arms, and started crying. Full on, Niagara Falls level crying. I hugged her tighter, told her, I love you so much, and started crying too. I honestly don't know how long we stood there hugging each other and crying. It could have been 10 minutes. It could have been an hour. I didn't care. When she stopped crying, she promised me that she would go to therapy. Reddit, you guys don't know how thrilled and proud I was when I heard those words. She then asked me if we could go on a trip to Japan because, in her words, I really need to leave this fucking house for once and get some fresh air. I was so fucking proud of her when she took the initiative in planning our trip. She's always been a methodical, organized person, and as she booked the flights and hotels, I saw in her eyes the same spark that made me fall in love with her 8 years ago. We just finished packing for the trip, and she fell asleep with the faintest of smiles on her face not too long ago. We have a 5 a.m. Uber to catch, a trip to enjoy, and both therapy and dog shopping sessions lined up when we return. We're not quite out of the tunnel yet, but we can see the light at the end. Edit. I'm going to bed. Thank you to everyone who followed my story and offered their well wishes. Few comments. Comment 1. So, did you drop her food, or did it just disappear from existence? Comment 2. This was so wholesome. I'm so happy for both of you. and you're being a wonderful husband to her. I hope you both enjoy Japan. Comment 3. I'm so pleased for you, buddy. Don't forget that surrogacy and adoption are always options as well. Kids aren't miraculously better just because they're fruit of your loins. There are plenty of kids in need of loving homes already, and it sounds like yours is one. Edit. OMG tie for the silver, mysterious stranger. My first silver ever. My first anything ever. Edit 2. Gold as well. This is crazy. Thank you, SM.